In my last video, I was speaking about quitting my job without another one lined up. This chapter of my life was amazing, but it came with a cost, literally. So today I'll share my 10 principles for my low buy year in 2025. These are the guidelines I follow to make intentional choices without depriving myself or feeling miserable. Now, what is a low buy year exactly? For me, a low buy year means finding a balance between spending on what's truly essential and saving more than usual to reach an important financial goal. I have done a few in the past to save money for certain life experiences like traveling to Hawaii, switching job industries, moving to a different country, or doing a semester abroad in California. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. We already own so much more than we realize. So before I buy anything new, whether it's clothes, skincare, or even groceries, I'm committing to using what I already have. For example, my wardrobe, turns out I have everything that I already need. And sure, I would love to buy a new pair of sneakers, but my old ones are holding up just fine and go with almost every outfit in my closet. So the goal with this guideline is not about being extreme, but being intentional. And trust me, the satisfaction of finishing what you already own is definitely underrated. Now, with the next principle, we get a little bit more practical. I'm only using cash or debit cards for day-to-day spending. No swiping the credit card unless I know for sure I can pay the full amount the next month. Studies show that people spend more when using credit cards compared to cash. It's psychological. When you don't physically see the money leaving your wallet, it's way easier to overspend. With your debit card, for example, you see directly what has been deducted from your bank account. Switching to cash or debit card forces me to stay connected to my budget and to keep a clear overview of what I'm spending. Because when the money is gone, it's gone. The next category is something where most of us overspend without even realizing it. For my low buy year, I'm setting a simple rule. Eating out is reserved for special occasions, travel, or any kind of meaningful social gatherings. And the rest of the time, I decided to be cooking at home. And don't only take my word for it, how huge this is on saving money. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American household spends over $3,000 per dining out. That's nearly $250 a month. And the cherry on top, meal prepping and cooking at home doesn't only help me save money, but it also helps me to stay healthy. Plus, I have found super delicious recipes that make home cooking way more enjoyable. It also lets you track what goes into the dish and also exactly what kind of nutrients you consume. You know that feeling when you're scrolling through Instagram and you suddenly need that jacket or that gadget that you didn't even know existed 10 seconds ago? Impulse buying is one of the sneakiest ways money slips through our fingers. So the rule that I started to incorporate is the following. If I want something, it goes into a mental or shopping cart and it stays there for at least 2 weeks. And if I still want it after that, I will maybe consider buying it. But way too often I made the experience that 90% of the time I didn't really need the item. And this trick is also not just about saving money, but it's also about breaking the cycle of instant gratification, which is a great transition to my next point. Sometimes we go out for a stroll and spot a cute top or a cool jacket, and in the moment, we think it's a must-buy. Back in the day, I had a habit of cutting off the price tags as soon as I came home, but all it did was that I committed to the purchase without much thought. Soon I realized when the time came to finally wear it, it didn't even match my closet. Or even worse, it didn't even look as good as in the fitting room. Now I've definitely learned my lesson, and my trick is to actually keep the price tag on for at least 2 days for a sort of consideration phase. During this time, I of course don't wear the item, but I let myself think it over again. And I will ask myself questions like, does it really fit my wardrobe? Will I actually wear it? And if the answer is no, it will actually go back to the store and I will return it. This small pause has saved me countless times from buyer's remorse. I want to make sure to also make more intentional buying decisions. So for every new item I bring, one has to go out. And why does this work? First, it keeps your space clear and clutter-free. A study by UCLA found a link between a high density of household objects and elevated cortisol. It can even impact focus. And second, it saves money. When you ask yourself, do I want this badly enough to let go of something I already own? You also cut down on any kind of impulse purchases. And third, it's sustainable because passing on items definitely also prevents waste. For example, selling old clothes on secondhand platforms, or donating unused items to a local charity, or gifting it to a friend. This habit makes sure that I'm not feeling overwhelmed by stuff, and I will also start thinking about it twice before buying something new. But you probably can't follow this principle if you haven't incorporated the next one. Raise your hand if you own multiple versions of the same thing. 5 white t-shirts, 3 pairs of black boots, or a dozen almost identical lipsticks. In 2025, I'm definitely avoiding duplicates like the plague. If I already own something similar, I don't need another one, no matter how tempting the sale might be. This principle is all about quality over quantity. By focusing on fewer, better things, I can appreciate what I already have instead of chasing the next trendy fashion item. This principle is simple but surprisingly powerful. No buying backups or replacements until I've fully run out of something. Take shampoo, for example. I used to buy a new bottle the moment I was halfway through the current one, but now I'm waiting until the very last drop. Next to this, I also decided to do a little inventory of everything that I have at home. Somewhere in a drawer, I found plenty of backups of any kind of cosmetics or diffusing sticks and candles, whether it was like gifts or things that I bought just in case. Both approaches will help to keep my spending in check and also reduce clutter. Another hard truth that I have learned over the years and that I will also follow this year is I don't need to be fancy about everything. Do I need organic, cold pressed, extra virgin olive oil? Can I survive without the trendiest water bottle everyone has on TikTok? This principle is about cutting out the unnecessary sort of like bougie items that don't really add much value to my life. Because affordable and practical items work just as well, if not even better. Studies have shown that when people pay more for a product, they also expect it to work better, even if it's identical to the cheaper version. Psychologists call this the placebo effect of branding. For example, in a study, participants rated the same wine as tasting better when they believed it was expensive. The fancy label tricks our brains into equating cost with quality, even when there's no real difference. I decided to be even more mindful with the product that I buy. That $30 bottle of olive oil might be labeled hand harvested, but can you really taste the difference in your pasta sauce? Or is this just a way to inflate your grocery bill? And speaking of groceries, let's move on to the next point. With the new year rolling in, I'm creating an updated budget that reflects my goals. For that, I will be using the 65-15-20 rule. This structure keeps me accountable and makes sure I'm making steady progress towards rebuilding my emergency fund. You can learn more about the rule in detail up here. And if you like my content, could you do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button down below, as I can see that 90% of my viewers aren't subscribed to this channel yet. Your support literally means the world to me, and I would love for you to join this community. So see you next time. Bye.